Welcome back. I've been jealous lately that, in the last several weeks, we've had several guest speakers, and I was like, I want to see everyone. I want to lead practice with everyone. And here I am. So I'm glad that we can be back together. And I see, in addition to some very familiar faces, we have some new faces as well. So I just want to welcome everyone. It's good to see Courtney and Faith. Welcome back. Glad that you're here. Great. Anne, you've been so consistent lately with these Wednesdays. I love that. Rebecca, I'm glad you're able to join us. Christine, good. Okay, so I'm going to have a last sip of my coffee. If you want to do what you need to do to similarly get into the meditation spirit. And we're going to do good old-fashioned shamatha today. So by way of review, or maybe first time for some people, shamatha, the word for it can be translated from Sanskrit as calm abiding or peaceful abiding meditation. And the basic idea behind it is this sense that we inherently have a sense of peace. And we don't need to go out to like Walmart and get it. In fact, I don't think they stock that. So to have the discovery that's actually that it's already here all along is sort of revolutionary for many people, that we already can experience peace. And my favorite thing as a meditation teacher, and I've been leading practice for 20 years at this point, is this moment where people realize that I'm not just spouting a theory or a philosophy at them. And I'm looking at some people that are like nodding. I'm like, yeah, you already know where I'm probably going with this. It's that moment where someone in their own meditation practice says, oh, I was able to relax into feeling the breath for a minute, half a minute, I shouldn't even say a minute, 10 seconds, anything, where they say, oh, I was able to just get out of my own way for a moment and just be okay. And there's a sense of space or peace or whatever we want to call it. And it's in that moment that's no longer someone saying, here's what you're going to experience. It's you. You yourself have had a taste of it. And you may have then thought to yourself, is that what Lodro's talking about? And the short answer is yes. And then, of course, you've already moved on beyond it because now you're starting to tell yourself stories about it. Probably isn't this. It's probably something else that he's talking. And that's very normal. But the idea here is that it's a glimpse, a discovery, a little opening of the door to that feeling of peace. And then from there, once we've had a glimpse, we can open that door more and more over time. That really, as far as there's a door right here, you can't see it, it's off camera, but like there's a little glimmer where if a cat really wanted to, it could push the door open more. And actually, it's probably a good analogy because most of us feel like that cat where it's actually a bit of a struggle to get it open even a little. But then at some point, we can push it open a little bit more, and at some point it's just fully open. And as far as I'm concerned, that's what enlightenment is. That sense of we're actually more in tune with that feeling of peace, openness, and wakefulness than we may have suspected. The issue with many of us in a long-term meditation practice is that we might have a glimpse of it here and there, and we probably second guess it and say, well, that's not how I'm really living my life, though. I'm spending a lot of my time lost in anxiety, lost in thoughts about work, lost in any number of things. And here, I often joke with people, I wish that people could see inside my own head because there's all these graphs that happen. I'll see if I can articulate it. That if we spend 90% of our day lost in thought and maybe 10% a little bit present, that meditation sort of maybe moves us to 11 and 89, and then 12 and 88. And gradually over the course of our lifetime, maybe that door stays open more and more and more, and it gets a bit inverted. And we actually are finding more time, more of a continuity, let's say, of our wakefulness, of our presence, and less time getting fully pulled away by thought. And how do we train in this shamatha? Long-winded way to get here, but let's do some practice and see what we discover for ourselves. So I'm in a chair. If you want to join me in a chair, you could just place your feet firmly on the ground, about hips width apart. If you're on a cushion, I love seeing that everyone starts wiggling around, so people have cushions available to them and they're already plopped down on them. Great. Maybe you want to sit with your legs loosely crossed, knees dropping a little below the hips. Just take a moment to rest, to feel grounded here. Lifting up through the top of the head, elongating the spine. Relaxing the shoulders. We hold so much tension there in the shoulders. If you want to lift them up towards the ears and then drop them, you can. It might be helpful to do that even 2 or 3 times to really let them hang loose. Relaxing the arms, even the hands. If we place our palms down on the thighs, you can even just wiggle the fingers to let them really relax. Just gently scanning your body at your own pace, noticing where you're holding a lot of tension, letting it sink out. You feel down through the feet, through the legs, that sense of solidity, a sense of upliftedness through the spine. Even, of course, this sense of relaxation in the muscles of the face. We tuck in the chin slightly. We relax the jaw. There's all these tiny muscles around the eyes that we don't often think about. So even taking the time to relax the muscles around the eyes. If we meditate with our eyes open, that might mean letting the lids be about half open, just resting the gaze a few feet ahead of us in the ground. Not staring intently, but allowing the gaze to become panoramic. If we choose to meditate with our eyes closed, it means letting the lids gently shut. So again, we're not tensing up those muscles right there. Let's take a moment now to just feel the body breathing. No bells, no whistles. Just notice how you're breathing today. That's it. When we get distracted from the breath, which if we haven't already, surely will, we gently acknowledge it, we come back. We just give ourselves permission to keep coming back to the present moment, feeling each in-breath and each out-breath. If it's helpful, you could silently, very gently say to yourself, thinking, just to acknowledge it. Then we come back to the breath. One important thing here is to note how we treat ourselves in meditation. We aren't going to rest in a sense of peace if we're beating ourselves up every step of the way. So, really being gentle with ourselves each time we notice, oh, I've drifted off. It's not a big deal. Thinking, we just come back, taking a fresh start approach. When we return to the breath, we could even think, oh, this is like the first breath of a new meditation session. And just start fresh, begin anew. At this point of things, we'll only sit for 5 more minutes. So in the same way, if we were running a long race, we might say, oh, I've only got a mile to go, or some such thing. We would exert ourselves. Here we balance that sense of gentleness we've talked about with a sense of exertion or discipline. That we really stay true to the idea that every time we drift off, we quickly catch ourselves and return to the present moment, feeling each in-breath and out-breath. Just for these 5 minutes. That's it. Just taking the fresh start approach over and over again, thinking, come back, start anew. And when you feel ready, take a deep breath and begin to transition out of the practice itself, maybe bringing some light movement into the body, perhaps simply stretching. Having a big yawn. Continue to wake up the body. So it's sort of very inspiring to me that we have people from all over the world joining us in these Wednesday morning sits. We have so many of us who are waking up or ending our evenings together. And what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to turn off the recording so that we can have time for questions, reflections that are coming out of your practice. And those won't necessarily go on record, so to speak. So thank you. And